Hello everyone, Exarian here with a tutorial video on how to use my Kaizo IronMON damage calculator. This is a calculator I made for Fire Red specifically, but it works for other Pokemon games as well with reasonable accuracy. Just works best for Fire Red. So in this video we'll go through an example from Fire Red on how to use the calculator. If you prefer to follow along via text, there is a README in the video description that you can download along with the calculator, and that has step-by-step instructions as well. So let's get started. You'll see at the bottom here, there are 3 tabs to the calculator. First one is BST Damage, second is Past Current Damage, and the third is Wilds. These are 3 separate calculators used for different purposes in the run, but by far the most important is the BST Damage tab, so we'll start there and focus most of the attention on this one. You want to use this tab, the BST Damage, whenever you're facing a new encounter. So if we look in the tracker here, we'll see that this Flygon is in fact a new encounter. That means we haven't seen it before, so we're on the right tab. You also want to use this tab if you've seen the Mon before, but you O-code it, so you don't have any info about its defenses. You might have info about its HP if you were watching how fast the HP bar depleted, but you don't have info about defense, and so you want to be here. If you faced it before and the Mon lived, then you do have info about its defense and its HP, so in that case you would want to use the Past Current Damage tab, and we will go through an example of that as well. Alright, so back to BST Damage. You'll notice there's a lot of different colors floating around in the spreadsheet, and that's significant because certain cells are off limits. If you try to type in them, it'll change a formula, it'll break the calculator, you have to download it again or undo. So you want to be typing in the yellow cells and the dark purple cells, and we'll go through each of these cells here, but you don't want to type in any of the other cells or it might break the calculator. Alright, so starting from the top left, we have the trainer class. Now you might know this offhand if you're facing like just the name of a gym leader or just a very easy to remember trainer, but you might not because there's a lot of different trainer classes in the game. And unfortunately, the game doesn't tell you the trainer class. The randomizer actually just gives it a random silly name, so you have to look it up somewhere if you don't know. And I've included a map in the video description that shows all of the trainers with their original trainer class names, as well as the Pokemon that the levels of the Pokemon that they have, and their location on the map. So if you're not sure, just check that map, and check the box in the top left of the map that says Show Trainer Data so that you can get all of that info. Once you have that, you just type in the Pokemon name and level, and you can move on. This box here, this is for selecting the type of Mon that you're facing on the trainer. There's 3 types of Mons. Most of the time it's just going to be Other. But when you're facing a boss trainer that has an extra Mon, then you want to choose Extra. So for example, Brock, he normally has 2 Pokemon, but in the Kaizo IronMON challenge, he's given 3 additional Pokemon to make the game harder. Those 3 additional Pokemon are categorized as Extra, and that is significant because the extra Pokemon always have 0 IVs. Even on the Elite Four, which are supposed to have 30 IVs on every Mon, the extra Mons just have 0, and it's a big difference in damage calculation. Last one here is Ace. So if you're facing Rival's Ace, the Mon that they keep for the whole game from Rival 1 until Champion, then you would select Ace, and sometimes the Ace has higher IVs than the other Mons on the fight. Alright, so we're just choosing Other, because this is not a boss trainer, it's just a random trainer. And we see that the Picnicker's Flygon has 0 IVs in every stat, and bad AI. The AI type doesn't affect the calc, it's just there for your reference. Bad AI means that they're just going to pick a random move that does something, and good AI means there's a lot more strategy, and you have to be a little more knowledgeable to know what move they might use. Alright, next we want to look at these yellow boxes here that all have 0s. These are for you to enter a Pokemon's base stat if you know it. So, like if you've seen Flygon before and it had tons of HP because the HP bar took a long time to go down, you could type in like 150 HP and it'll affect the damage calc, because if it has 150 HP, that means it has less in its other stats to distribute. So, it's higher bulk overall, but still lower defense, and that does matter. Likewise, if you saw it before and it used extreme speed, or maybe you missed a move against it, and so you saw another damaging move, and it had a really high attack, because it did a lot of damage, then you could type, like 170 attack, and that'll also affect the defense, because now there's even less BST to distribute among the remaining stats. You want to make sure if you do edit attack, special defense, speed, or defense, that you also have base HP, and you always should have some estimate of base HP if you've seen the Mon, because you've seen its HP bar go down. Alright, this is a new encounter, right? So we need to make sure everything is at 0. Don't delete these cells, don't clear them, just type 0 if you haven't seen the Mon before. You see now that the Flygon has 95 base HP and 85 base defense. That's just the average that it would have if you know nothing else about it. Now we can move on to the dark purple cells, which are for us to input our own Pokemon's info. So we can toggle in the tracker back to our Pokemon, and we see we have a level 65 Crobat, and don't need to type in the name of the Pokemon, just the level, and then your attack. Make sure you skip this cell here, because it's light purple. Type in the dark purple cell. I have 181 attack, and then I have the badge boost from beating Brock. So when you beat Brock, you get a 10% boost to all of your physical moves, and when you beat Blaine, you get a 10% boost to all your special moves. So since I'm using a physical attack here and I've beaten Brock, I put 1.1 for the badge boost. Attack stage, that's for things like Dragon Dance or Intimidate or Swords Dance. Anything that boosts or lowers my attack stage would be applied here, and if your attack hasn't been modified at all, it's just going to be 1. And you can just click here to see all of the modifiers. So the -1, you would click here. If you +1, you click here. +2, you click here. So we're just at 1 now, since we haven't used Dragon Dance. And then the move that we're going to be using is Drill Peck, because that's our strongest move. Now the tracker tells you the power of the move. It's very handy. See next to Drill Peck, it says power is 80. And then it also tells you if you have Stab. So if you jump over here to the Stab box, that same type attack bonus, and Crobat is a flying type, and so it gets that boost, and the tracker tells us it gets that boost because the 80 for Drill Peck's power is green. The other moves that don't get the Stab boost are just white. So 1.5 for Stab, and then type effectiveness here, that is just how effective is our move against the Mon we're facing, and Drill Peck is neutral against Flygon, so we click 1. These other 3 boxes, Torrent here, that's just if you somehow have the ability Torrent or Blaze and using Water or Fire move, and you're low HP, you'd go 1.5. Very rarely applies. Double Battle, that's if you are doing a double battle and you are using a move like Muddy Water, split damage, you do 2. And then Rain, that's for Rain or Sun. If your move is boosted by the Rain, you go 1.5. Boosted by the Sun, 1.5. If it's nerfed, like a Fire move in Rain or a Water move in Sun, you do 0.5. So those don't apply. We have all of the correct info, and now we want to look at the green boxes. Green boxes tell us everything that we want to know from the damage calculator. So we see in the darker green box here, 115.3, that is the average damage that we will deal to a Flygon that has average HP and defense. So it's a little more than 100. 100 means you just OHKO it to the exact HP. 115, a little more comfortable. Box below that, the slightly lighter green box, tells us an approximation of the chance to one-hit KO the Mon. This is a little less precise than the first number, because you have to do like a million sims in order to get a more precise number for each calculation, but it's reasonably accurate. It gives you a good idea of your odds of OHKOing the Mon, given the information that you've entered. So here it's about 60% to OHKO the Flygon. And now we can use this to make decisions, right? Say, well, 60% to kill, that means 40% likely to live. Probably if it lives, it's on low HP, so maybe it kills us with counter. Maybe we should use Dragon Dance to avoid that. or maybe you don't want to Dragon Dance because you don't have anything to heal Confusion, and they could just use Swagger. It's not always an easy decision, but at least you have the numbers to make the best decision possible. So that's the BST damage calc. Now let's move on to past current damage, and we'll just take this Flygon as an example again. Let's say that we've faced the Flygon before. Let's say that it was on Rocket Hideout Giovanni, and it was the Ace. So that's a level 44 Mon, and we do have to manually type in the IV here. Giovanni's Mons are 30 IV, except for the extra Mons, so say 30 IV, and let's say that it had a lot of HP, because the HP bar took a while to go down, say 130 base HP. And let's say that we did like 80% damage to it. Right, we left it on high red HP. And we type 80 in this box. Again, we're typing in the yellow boxes only. We are not typing in the gray box or the green box. Now we're going to go down here where it says attacker past. So we're putting in info about the past encounter before the current encounter. So in the past, our level was, let's say it was level 60, and we had 167 attack, and we had the badge boost from Brock, and let's say we used 1 Dragon Dance on that fight, so that would be 1.5 as our attack stage, and we're using Drill Peck again, so same info as before. Alright, that tells us that the base defense for the Flygon is about 105. Now we could just plug these numbers, the 130 and 105, into the BST damage calculator and use that, or we could just stay on this calculator, and both methods work. If we stay on this calculator, then we want to put in the current info. So the current Flygon we're facing is level 44 as well, but it has 0 IV, and then our current info is we're a little higher level, right? We're 65, 181, got the badge boost, and we're not set up, right? We're not Dragon Dance, so just attack stage 1, Drill Peck, and so we can see based on that our expected damage, again this is just the damage that you expect to do as a percentage of the full HP, is 76.5 in the green box here. So it's looking like maybe if we set up 1 Dragon Dance we'll kill it, definitely if we set up 2 we're going to kill it, but almost certainly we won't kill it without setting up. And this is just if we had this info about Flygon from earlier. If we didn't have the info, we would just go to BST damage instead. Now, when you're using past current damage, it is important to note that the results can vary quite a bit. At low levels especially, it's not very reliable, but at high levels still, sometimes you get a result you don't expect because of natures and damage range. Like if you look over here at the damage ranges, you see it's 133 to 157, 118 to 139. That's 15% difference between the lowest roll and the highest roll. You never know if you got a low roll or a high roll if you're seeing something for the first time. And then you never know what nature the Pokemon has, because natures are randomized in this game. You can't look them up. It could just be that Giovanni had a plus defense Flygon, and this one is minus defense, so it'll actually die to a Dragon Dance, or vice versa. So just be ready for a bit of variance in the result. It's not always going to be exactly what the calculator says, but it's still better than having no info, right? Okay, so last calculator is Wilds. This is just if you are scouting in the early game, you're facing a wild Pokemon, it uses a move against you, it does damage, you're curious, does this Mon have good attack, because that move, it's a pretty good move. Well, this calculator will give you that info. So let's say that we had Crobat as our starter, but we didn't want to run it because it has like really high special defense and no room for other stats. Here in this calculator we can actually edit the orange cells, and we really just need to edit this one, which is our defense. So let's say Crobat had like 24 defense while we were scouting, or we'll say 24 special defense, right? This says defense, but it's just whichever physical or special defense applies for that situation. And then let's say we're scouting a Blaziken and it used Flamethrower against us and did 9 damage. Alright, let's say it's a level 5 Blaziken. Now we're going to enter the info about Blaziken using Flamethrower over here. So level 5, and now we are leaving this cell alone, the light purple one. We're just skipping to the dark purple one. And here, like, we're trying to figure out what attack it has. We don't actually know. So we'll just put, like, the lowest attack we think it could possibly have, or in this case, Flamethrower, its special attack. And we'll say, it seemed to do decent damage, probably is, at least 10 special attacks. So I'll put 10 here, and then the cells below it just go up by 1. So we get to see the damage for everything from 10 down to, to max. Alright, no badge boost, because it's a wild Pokemon. No attack stage, unless it used Tail Glow or something. And then the move, Flamethrower, is 95 power. It does get Stab. It's neutral effective. No double battle or rain. Alright, calculator says if it has 10 attack, if the Blaziken using Flamethrower has 10 special attack, then it should be doing 5 to 7 damage to our Crobat. Now, remember I said 9 damage was what we saw. So this isn't possible, right? We know it doesn't have 10 attack if it did 9 damage. So now looking down at the next one, okay, 11 special attack is also 5 to 7. That's not possible. 12 special attack is 5 to 7. Okay, so it's at least 13 special attack, right? Because that is 7 to 9. Now it's not likely to be 13 special attack, or 14, or 15, because the odds of getting a max roll of 9 are 1 in 16. Whatever the max roll is here is always a 1 in 16 chance of happening. So it's a lot more likely to get a roll of 7 or 8 if the Mon does in fact have 13 to 15 special attack. But if we go down, we'll see 8 to 10 damage. That's possible for 16, 17, or 18 special attack. And it's a little more likely to get a damage roll of 9. You could, if you really want to dig into it, you can scroll to the right here and you can see the distribution of the rolls. There's 16 possible rolls. 8 is a 5 in 16 chance, 9 is a 10 in 16 chance, and 10 is a 1 in 16 chance. So pretty likely that it does 8 to 10, which means it has 16 to 18 special attack, which is quite good. And we're a lot more eager to catch this Blaziken than if it had low special attack. Alright, that's everything. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the video comments, or just hit me up on Discord, or message me in Twitch chat. Happy to help out. Again, video description has the link to download the README as well as the calculator, so you should have everything there. Also the map if you need to consult it for trainer names. I hope this was helpful. I hope that a few of you get to try out the damage calculator. It's pretty fun. Might get you another win or two out of a good Mon. Yeah, that's all. Good luck on your attempts, and thanks for watching.